Good afternoon, everyone. Andy Jacob here with the DotCom Magazine Entrepreneur Spotlight Series. I have a very interesting show today, one that you're going to want to watch all the way through. We have a very respected activist, philanthropist, and senior board member for Project Angel Food. He's a fashion expert for the fashion houses Gucci, Louis Vuitton, and Fendi. This gentleman I have on the show is so interesting that I was so excited. I have to get to the interview right now and start asking the questions. His name is Runningbear. And Runningbear, thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Thank you for having me.
It's so cool. It's so cool to have you here. You are respected all around the world for your philanthropist activities. You're a senior board member at Project Angel Food. Last year alone, you donated over $100,000 to Project Angel Food. And I think you're going to be continuing these generous donations in 2021. Wow. Let's get into it a little bit. I know you've got a major commitment to improving the Native American community. Let's talk about that first, and then we're just going to unravel everything that you're doing. There's so much to get to.
Sounds good. So what's coming up, man? We have so many things coming up recently. Working with Project Angel Food, I was able to start a pilot program with them to see if we can get medically tailored meals to get to the Native American community in Los Angeles and see if it can bring down A1C levels for the diabetic community. My commitment is $500,000 over a 5-year period. That's going to be commit to the research study over time. We're very excited to be able to work with two doctors from USC and UCLA respectively, Dr. Andrea Garcia and Claridina Soto. We're very lucky to have a native based research study happening, but those two researchers are also Native American as well. So it's really Native centric. We're excited to have them on board. Project Angel Food's been a big part of my life now for a few years. It was all on a whim. I happened to meet them through a friend of mine, and she really got me interested in working with them. And I wasn't too informed on them for very long because I didn't really know them too much. But I had someone in my family was recently touched by cancer, and it really kind of made me dive deeper into their background after seeing how much they've done with that community. So from there, that really made me commit some of my money to see if their meals can help my community, and from there, if we can make that go broader.
I love it. I love it. It's absolutely unbelievable what you've done. I believe recently you were involved with Gucci in a joint fundraising effort last year with Gucci. Let's talk about that a little bit because that's exciting as well. Yeah,
no, Gucci's been great. They've gave us an opportunity when they heard that I was working with Project Angel Food, gave me an opportunity to have a clothing buying event at Chateau Marmont. We had a private suite on the rooftop, and we got to invite a bunch of people and see if they would like to participate in donating in buying clothes. And of course, proceeds of those sales went to Project Angel Food. So it was a great opportunity. And speaking after that had happened with other fashion houses, they were very interested in getting that started, but COVID happened. So we're working on figuring the logistics of getting something like that started up again.
Well, and speaking of COVID, you've been very involved in the Native American community in increasing COVID testing. Let's talk about what you've been able to do there because it's just outstanding what you've been able to do, Runningbear.
Well, midway through COVID, it was hard to get testing in general, whether it have been through resources that we could provide through, say, Indian Health Services or privately. A lot of times Native Americans, are going through difficult times, and it's harder for them to be able to have access to things like that. Luckily, I have a friend of mine. Her name's Alice Han. She's a great woman from Los Angeles. Helped me acquire testing from Korea and things that were already approved out there for the SARS-CoV detection. So she helped me get them out here, and I was able to distribute them to certain places, and it really did help out a lot of people in my community. I know my sister, she found out her own children had been able to expose, but luckily we had that testing because it was harder to get access to those at the time. So I'm just glad that we were able to help whoever we could while we could, because it was a crazy time, July through just still to now.
Wow, that's really, really interesting. I want to dive into so much with you today. One thing that's very interesting and one thing that caught my attention was besides all the great work that you do and all the philanthropic endeavors that you're involved with, being a fashion expert for Gucci, Louis Vuitton, and Fendi is super cool. We spoke a little bit before the show today about how that happened, but maybe you could tell that story about how that happened. That is just really exciting and really, really fun.
Definitely. So I want to clarify, I'm not necessarily an advisor. That sounds very official. I'm definitely not on anyone's payroll or anything like that. Just to clarify that. But a few years ago, that's almost a decade now, a good friend of mine, Olympia from Louis Vuitton, was able to introduce me to the fashion world. She had helped me get my foot in the door to start going to the shows. And from there, I was able to design a mink coat. I've been able to design a couple bags with them. I've been very blessed because it wasn't just with Louis Vuitton. Once I got to Louis Vuitton, I felt, the need to explore that world because it was so new to me. From there, I was able to go with Fendi, and Fendi was able to take me to Milan. They took me all over the world, actually, to see different things. And now I'm with Gucci, working with Gucci. We have a Desert X experience coming up on this weekend. I have no idea what it's about, but I'm excited because it's on native territory. That area is all reservation. So I'd love to see what kind of juxtaposition they can do with art and fashion on desert land like that. So I'm excited.
It's awesome, Runningbear, that you've been able to really take your passion for art and fashion and your passion for helping the Native American community and kind of tie it all together in a wonderful bow. And you're making so many great strides in the world that are just incredible. Now, I know you have an involvement with the San Manuel Casino. Maybe you could talk about that a little bit as well.
Oh, well, yeah, I'm a tribal member of the San Manuel Band of Mission Indian. I don't necessarily have anything to do with the casino itself. That's its own entity, something that my family runs as a self-governing property. I do work with Indian Health Services, though. I am the board secretary for the Indian Health Services of Riverside and San Bernardino County. From there, that was a job given to me by my family. They nominate you for this position, and I was able to win that nomination and get this job. It's been a few years now that I've been on the board, and now I'm secretary of the board. This is my second year. It's exciting. One of the things that I recently was nominated today, actually, for a seat on my family's, it's called the business committee. So it's sort of like the executive committee. I say my family, really, it's an entity. I'm just really excited about it because I get to work with, the rest of the entity and the rest of the organization. If it happens, then I'm grateful. And if not, then I have a lot of time left. I'm only 31. So I'm pretty excited though.
Well, you're a young man, that's for sure. And, congratulations on what happened today. That's absolutely outstanding. Now, your role as a Native American voice in entertainment, fashion, and business is very, very strong and very, very powerful. When you wake up in the morning, what goes through your mind? The responsibility that you have and that is on your shoulders seems to be very large. You looks like you have some nice, strong shoulders there. But when you wake up in the morning, Runningbear, what do you think about? What goes through your mind? What's your why in the morning?
Well, that's a great question. There's a lot of times that does come across. Last year for Gucci's Milan show, for the men's show, I wore a traditional ribbon shirt with a Gucci dress, and I got to be in a Vogue piece online, so that was kind of cool. I want to be able to show people that we're still here. Representation matters, and whether you're in America, where Native Americans, are from, our native land is here. Once you cross that border, once you're in other countries, you still represent your people. So when I'm given these opportunities to travel wherever it may be, I always have that at the forefront, whether it be in my art or how I wear my clothes. I try to bring that sense to whatever I may be doing.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So we're interviewing you. People are watching the show. I'm sure they're going to be Googling Runningbear. They want to know what this gentleman is all about, how he's been able to have this amazing story and take a lot of responsibility on your shoulders at such a young age and really do amazing things. You're talking the talk, you're walking the walk, you're helping a lot of folks. And I know you have a lot of things in the future that you're going to be doing as well. And it's just really remarkable. But Runningbear, let's look at this a little bit differently right now. You know, you're a young man. Let's take this 5 years out from now. Where do you see Runningbear? Where do you see you 5 years from now?
Oh man, I would love to be working with my family's organization more, as much as I possibly could. I always try to get away. Like I've lived in Hawaii, I've lived in LA. I always end up back home. I always end up coming back to the reservation, and I find that what I know how to do works best with my own people. And if I could utilize the outside resources that I've learned over time, you know, the past 15 years, like Project Angel Food, seeing how I can integrate that lifestyle that I've been living and learning, and incorporating it with my new lifestyle and seeing how I can make that go farther. I'm seeing if I can interchange all these things, make all these work. So in 5 years, I'm hoping that we take Project Angel Food's pilot program, at least, if not international, at least, you know, more localized in LA, maybe San Bernardino County, Riverside County. I just want to see if it works, then use it.
That's awesome. Of course, you're a busy man. Your phone rings off the hook all the time,
Right.
and I know that. That's not a problem. I would expect that, as a matter of fact. I mean, so many people, so many organizations, so many committees are reaching out to you, Runningbear, to get your advice and to get your assistance. So that's only to be expected, not a problem. You know, I'm listening to you speak, Runningbear, and I know a little bit about your background. One thing that comes to mind for me, and I'm sure people watching the show, is, man, this guy would be phenomenal in politics. I don't know if you have any aspirations about that in the future, because you probably could make a giant impact in that as well. Have you ever thought about that? And is that anything that's on your radar screen at this point?
Last year I went to an HRC event, and I learned a little bit about them. And, you know, I try to keep as much out of politics as possible, because within tribal governance, you are your own sovereign government. So I like to keep that as political as I can get. But sitting on Indian Health Services, I've had to go to the Hill and speak with senators and congressmen to make sure that our monies are being spent in the right ways. So it's something that's there. It's not something that I ever really thought I'd get into, but it's kind of where my life's going. So if it happens, it happens. And I'm thinking that these are building blocks to get me to where I want to be. And if it happens, then we'll see.
I love it, Runningbear. Now, you have a wonderful story, you know, how you were brought up and how you've become Runningbear, you know, the person that we can Google and see everything that you're doing, which is amazing. So when you think about your life, Runningbear, was there something along the way that sort of clicked in for you that you said to yourself, you know, I want to empower my community. I want to really help the people in my community. I want to be a major force in my community. Was there something along the way that sort of clicked in for you?
I think for me, it was moving away. Once I moved away from the reservation and realized that you don't have the type of community that you do living on a hill together with everyone. You know, you're sort of you're alone in the world once you leave here. And I felt that if I can somehow bring my expertise to the reservation and make it work here, then I will gladly stay here. Recently, we started a firefighting reserve firefighter program. And it's funny, today after the nomination, I got my formal acceptance to get enrolled in that program. But I got nominated today, so I want to see if if I win this, then I'm going to go into that category of work. But if not, I have a fallback to try to get into this reserve firefighter program, because I want to still help my community no matter which way it is. Either way, I want to stay home and help.
Well, there's so much going on, Runningbear. One thing that's going through my mind right now, you know, at 31 years old, is how are you getting this all into a 24-hour day? So what does Runningbear's day look like? Do you get up early? How do you, stay abreast on all the fashion and all the information and all the things you're involved with, like Project Angel Food? How do you stay abreast of everything? And what's your day look like?
So I start at 3 a.m. every morning. I have 6 dogs. One of them is a wolf German Shepherd, so he wakes up at the sound of anything. So 3 a.m. it is, and everyone knows that about me. I talk about it all the time. So from there until about 5, I'm just kind of doing things around the house. I go to the gym for an hour and a half in the morning with my stepdad, and I just try to keep my day as busy as possible. When COVID happened, it really put a damper on all of the work that I was doing. Because I am a cautious person. I will say that. I did stay home. I still stay home as much as possible. But working through Zoom really kind of threw a slump in everything. So I'm trying my best to stay busy. So it does keep me busy, but not as the same way as it used to be. It used to, that's for sure.
Wow, that's awesome. So you get up at 3:30 in the morning, and that's when you start your day. And for the younger entrepreneurs watching, you're saying to yourselves, how does this guy do it? I mean, he's everywhere, and he's involved with so many things, and he's making such a positive impact. Well, something can be learned from the fact that if you get up early and start your day early, good things happen. And I talk to a lot of entrepreneurs that tell me they get up at 5 o'clock a.m. But Runningbear, I've never heard. Is it 3:30 or 3?
It depends on the dog. It's either 3 or 3:30.
I have not heard 3 before. So you've broken the worldwide record for DotCom Magazine interviews, because I've never heard somebody getting up so early in the morning to get it done. That is really, really awesome. When you go out into the community, Runningbear, and now, you're becoming more well-known throughout not only, your Native American community, but the greater community at large. I would imagine people come up to you and they want to speak with you and talk to you. When you speak to so many people, certainly before COVID, and now hopefully it starts opening up a little bit, what is it that people want to know about you, Runningbear? What type of advice do they typically ask for, or what do they want to know about you in your life?
I'll be honest with you, it all really depends on what area of the world I'm in. If I'm in Europe and at a show and they see that I'm wearing regalia or some sort of traditional wear, first thing they ask is where I'm from, what am I, if it's traditional what I'm wearing. And I love giving that information out, because this is usually their first time ever meeting a Native American person. So that's a great opportunity there to teach somebody a lesson, not a lesson, but something they don't know. Here in America, though, most of it depends, again, where I'm at. Sometimes it's politicians wanting to talk to me about ways they can help Native communities, or it's fundraising or whatever it may be. I always listen, because I'm always open to an opportunity to help people, especially people in my community. So it's a great learning experience every time I try to meet somebody.
That's awesome. So when you're in Europe and you're at one of the shows, you wear the traditional garb, and that, of course, is going to bring a lot of attention to you and your community, and people want to talk to you and find out about it, and they're very interested in it. And I know that, like you mentioned, since this is probably the first time that they've actually spoken to a Native American, I know that you want to, make sure they understand, sort of your insight and your vibe and your spirit, and make sure that they walk away with a wonderful understanding of what it's all about. So that's really, really great. Now, when you speak to politicians, this is very interesting. So politicians, they talk to Runningbear, and I'm going to speak about you in third person now, because I think the name you should talk in third person. Runningbear talks to the politicians, and they want to know how they can help the community. So this is a wonderful opportunity that you have, based on this brand that you've been able to build, to help your community out. So that's really, really awesome. And I would imagine that's quite an awesome responsibility for you as well.
Definitely. It's great, though. I wish, I worked more with people around this general area. A lot of times my work takes me out to Los Angeles. So it's, people that I've spoken with, Mitch O'Farrell. He's someone that's actually, I would love to start working with. He is also, I believe, Native American, and he came to an event with Project Angel Food for Native American Day, Heritage Day. So it's great that people are intrigued. It's great that they want to know. It's great that they want to learn. And I'm here to help in any way possible.
I love it. I love it. What a positive mental attitude you have, Runningbear. What a great sort of vibe and presence you have. Your spirit is very, very strong. You can tell that about you. great smile, you're engaging. So to share with the viewers who maybe aren't as up to date or in tune or have an understanding of the Native American community, let's pretend that somebody asked you, tell us about the Native American community. What types of things do you want them to know about the community at large?
Growing up in my reservation, it was a little bit different than a lot of other reservations. So that's one thing I want to throw out there, is that my position is different than a lot of others. But if I can let people hear about, the Native American culture, what I'd like them to take away with it is that we're still here. Especially in California, there are a lot of Native Americans here in your community, in Los Angeles even, that are not necessarily close to the reservations, but they're still there. So I just want people to understand that, you can learn a lot from your neighbor. You can learn a lot from your community, and we just got to listen.
I love it. I love it. Listening is so important. There's so much to learn. I think that you've learned that along the way. And I would imagine when you're out and about that one of the things that you do very intensely is listen to people, because I'm sure you learn a lot by listening. When you were growing up, Runningbear, what was it like? Was there things growing up that, if you can hearken back to when you were a younger person or a child, that you said to yourself, when I grow up, I want to do X, and then here you are doing the X? Is there something growing up that you said to yourself you wanted to accomplish that you're actually accomplishing right now?
When I was growing up, my father was the vice chairman of our tribe, and I saw him help get laws passed to get native gaming allowed in California twice. I always aspired to do something along those lines. Seeing him help get us where we are today is inspiring. It's a little unnerving. He's done so much for our community. It's kind of hard to ever attempt to get that far. But, he now is the chairman, which is something he's always wanted to do. And I'm glad that he's doing it. He's really in a great position to help the tribe go further. So even now, seeing him do that, I still aspire to be that guy, to be that man. Right now, I'm working with Indian Health. And for that position, when COVID kind of hit, it kind of threw me into that spotlight more, not spotlight, but that area of work. And that was stressful, but it really did kind of help me, prep me to possibly get this new position I was nominated for. It really kind of got me ready for this. And I feel that now I'm ready to handle working within the organization if something else happens along the lines that I hope I'm able to help.
Well, I know you will. There's no doubt about it, Runningbear. When we talk about entrepreneurship, we look at people like you who have that can-do attitude, and they wake up early and they get it going and they have so much going on. We have younger entrepreneurs that watch the show Runningbear. Maybe they're watching this and they're saying, wow, this guy's 31 years old. He's a respected activist, a philanthropist, a senior board member of Project Angel Food. He's a fashionista, if you will, with some of the big brands. So they may be saying to themselves, wow, I don't know if I have like what it takes to get there. Or maybe they hit a bump in the road that they're having a tough time getting through. So I'm hoping maybe you might be able to provide some positive, some Runningbear positiveness to those people, the younger entrepreneurs that maybe are having a tough go of it, and give them some words of inspiration.
Definitely. When I was 22, I got in a really bad car accident, and I hurt my head pretty bad. And I never kind of thought I would be able to live a little normally. Everything kind of changed for me. I definitely did not expect to start getting into fashion or things like that. But it definitely changed my life around. Before, I was kind of stagnant, not really doing anything. But that near-death experience really kicked me in the butt. And it made me realize that you may not be here tomorrow. So if you have the opportunity with your foot in the door, whatever you can do, take that chance. And you never know if it's going to happen again. So take the chance, anytime you get it, run with it.
I love it. I love it. You don't know if you're going to get it tomorrow. It's not a given. It's a blessing to get the next day. I see that you live with a lot of compassion. You live with modesty. you're a kind person, and those three things really, really go a long way for anybody. And then when you combine that with getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning with the dogs, then all good things happen. Runningbear, I've been wanting to get you on the show. I think we've covered a lot. This is really exciting, very empowering. Just the fact of what you've been able to do is very empowering. I'm sure the people watching this are going to turn off this video and go do something, take an action step in some way to move themselves forward. That's what it's all about. So I want to thank you for sort of giving everyone a little kick in the pants, if you will, during the interview. And you never know where things begin, but I think people watching the show Runningbear, you're going to start a lot of great things by people watching you and saying to themselves, you know what, this guy, this Runningbear, he is a testament to what can happen if you put your nose to the grindstone. I'm going to get up a little early tomorrow and start my day. So Runningbear, thank you so much for coming on the show. This has been absolutely phenomenal.
Thank you very much for having me. It's been great.